morning, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday podcast of Pro Line with Jim Feist. I'm Dave Koken, and we are ready to go with just a ton of stuff. Before we get to the games and the teams, we'll tell you what's happening at the website right now. Jim, you got 10 college football games loaded and available, including your Pac-12 game of the year.
You know, I wasn't shy this week, Dave. I got some strong plays. I mean, this gets to this time of year, and I feel like I really get to know these teams, and of course that's why I come up with the big plays as well. But I have 10 nice plays out there, and I expect to win a very high percentage of those. And you should go to jimfeist.com and buy those games. I mean, you're going to be happier on Monday when you're collecting and not paying.
I've got a college trifecta now up. Plus, my early game is still available, obviously. The college trifectas have done really well this year, although it didn't last. It had a good week last week overall, but the college trifecta did not perform as well. But it will this week. 2 marquee games, plus one in the Mountain West that I like. All 3 for $50, and they're available right now at jimfeist.com. And we'll be posting some other stuff as well in the next 24 to 48 hours. So there's going to be some great plays available. These are personal plays. I don't post them if I'm not playing them myself. So it's not like they're extra games that are not going to my clients. These are games that my clients absolutely get. Okay. Well, what can you say? I mean, that was an unbelievable game, too, last night. 8 homers, including 5 in the extra innings. And both of those were records.
It was amazing. It was exciting. And you just never knew what was coming next. And I thought, I had given out Houston and Verlander, and the guy gave up 2 hits. Unfortunately for him, both of them left the yard, and they were 2 hits and 3 earned runs. But the rest of the team, which was kind of in a slump a little bit, woke up, and they woke up against the Dodger bullpen, which was kind of surprising because that Dodger bullpen has been absolutely incredible. So if that continues, you're going to see a lot of runs scored in these games if these bullpens can't shape up and hold these teams down.
Well, I can't argue with that. And it sure was fun to watch. I didn't have anything on the game, so the result really didn't matter to me. But I'll tell you what, you just can't get more exciting than last night. And I'll definitely be watching in Game 3. Again, I don't play everything. I just haven't seen anything worth playing for me in baseball. But this is strictly as a fan. I can't wait to watch it. Now, we do have a lot of college football to talk about. We're going to focus on 2 games in today's podcast, NC State Notre Dame and Penn State Ohio State, and try and hopefully guide you in some kind of a direction as far as those games go. NC State Notre Dame's a betting report here, Jim. This is one of those games that has a chance to be what bookmakers love, a black game with split action on the tickets, split action on the money line, and that's the way this game is shaping up. A lot of support for both teams at the windows.
Well, the big question here is, you have more of a rested team here with NC State, and you got Notre Dame coming off that big game against USC. So, I mean, they both have the possibility of getting into the playoffs. And this has tremendous implications around this game, and I can see why both sides could get action because there are reasons to bet both sides of this game. And I'm taking a look at this game. I'm opened 8 and 61.5, and I'm seeing 58s and 59s on the total, 7 or 7.5 on, but it's mostly 7. And even if it's 7, it's minus like 109, 110. Bigger numbers, that's a 105 shop. So I'm seeing it's leaning more towards the 7.5. You got a number 9 team against a number 14 team in the rankings. This looks like a classic matchup, and you really got to dig down deep into this to try to figure out which side's going to win it.
Well, let's give you some facts and figures. Wolfpack are now 6-0. There's kind of a fluky opening loss to South Carolina where they completely dominated the game, but had some key turnovers and found a way to lose it. I'm sure they'd like to replay that one if they could. NC State's rush defense is excellent, only 91 yards per game, and Ryan Finley has been a terrific game manager. He's thrown 11 touchdown passes. He has yet to throw an interception on the season. Now, that all sounds real good, but one thing you got to remember, NC State is hosting Clemson next week in a really, really big ACC game. So, you know, I don't think you look past Notre Dame, but there is still a really big game on tap for them. Now, Notre Dame is 1 point away from being 7-0. The loss to Georgia was by 1 point. They were fantastic last week against USC. And look at this, Jim. Last 3 games, Notre Dame has run the ball for 1,151 yards. So this is a great running game against a great rushing defense. That's probably where this game's going to be decided. Maybe it's going to be just as close as last year's meeting, which was crazy.
Yeah, you know, Dave, you bring up great points about this. The one thing is you mentioned like next week is Clemson, but if NC State were to win this game, they still have to come and play that next game with the same kind of so that might be a spot also as a handicapper. How many games can they get up for back to back to back that are potentially season ending when it comes to the playoffs? So it really stands up. You got to watch this game closely, see how it's played. Do they get blown out? Do they blow the other team out? Is it a close fight down to the end? Does it go into overtime? All those things will play into what happens next week against Clemson. So I'm looking not only how to make a bet in this game, but how it will affect the next game, which is also a big one.
And we'll point out that last year, these teams played a 10-3 football game. The only touchdown was early in the fourth quarter on a blocked punt that got returned for a touchdown. So it was an amazing defensive struggle last year between NC State and Notre Dame. NC State won that game 10-3. I think it's an elimination for both teams as far as the playoffs are concerned, Jim. Notre Dame played great football, but if they lose 2 games, they take a second loss. I don't think they're going to get in. And NC State would have 2 losses. Their only possibility would then be to hope some other teams lose and for them to win out, including the ACC title game if they get there. So it's an absolutely huge game for both teams.
It sure is. I agree. It most likely is an elimination game. Other people would really have to falter to get one of these back in if they should lose it.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at Penn State and Ohio State. And first, the betting report. Now, unlike the game we just talked about, this is getting decided public action. The public is all over the dog here. Penn State getting nearly 70% of the tickets. There was some serious early money in the Lions. That's leveled off now, and it's kind of starting to look like the numbers crunchers are sitting on a number. In this game, I would say that number, based on where it is right now, is probably 6. So wherever if it drops to 6, they take Ohio State, and then the public goes in and buys back Penn State. So I think this is turning into a pros versus Joes game, Jim.
Well, you know, Penn State really did a job last week on Michigan, and you have 2 guys in here that J.T. Barrett, is also stepping up as a possible Heisman contender. I mean, the guy has got 31 touchdowns and 1 interception, which is absolutely incredible. And so Shaquan Barkley is I'd say, and I think you agree, he'd probably be the favorite right now to be the Heisman candidate. Not that steps up as a meaningful as far as the game decision is, but Penn State did a heck of a job last week. Ohio State has the 1 loss against Oklahoma. So this is another game, just like the other one you chose to talk about. It's right down to it. Another elimination game right here.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And these teams met last year, and just like the other games, you had a a weird special teams play that ended up deciding the game. Penn State was trailing that game 21-7. They ended up winning it 24-21, and they won it on a touchdown off a blocked field goal. Ohio State's going for the win, and instead it was Penn State that blocked it, returned it for a touchdown, and won the game. So serious revenge for Ohio State in this game. This is going to be quite a battle. I mean, Penn State was absolutely sensational last week against Michigan, and they're in really good shape to make the playoffs. So a win here, then they got Michigan State next week on the road. That's not an easy game. But if they close with Rutgers, Nebraska, and Maryland, I don't see Jim. If they win here, they basically knock out one of their most serious contenders. They knocked out Michigan last week. Penn State's in really good shape to make that Final Four if they can win this game.
Can they get up emotionally and physically to play back to back to back in incredibly difficult games? And that's tough. That's tough to do. It's a tough scheduling spot for them, and it remains to be seen. It's going to and on the road at Ohio State is not the easiest venue to go to.
No, it sure is. And Urban Meyer is really good in these games. So, it's not going to make my card, but I think it's less than a touchdown. I'm kind of leaning to Ohio State in the game.
I have not decided on a side on it, but that's not one of my 10 plays that I have posted, but I do have 10 plays posted at the website at jimfeist.com. And Dave, you have quite a few plays there, including that early game that you post every week, and I think you're undefeated. We're close to being undefeated for the whole season.
Yeah, they're perfect for the season, and I like my chances with this one. It's not one of the big games of the schedule, but it doesn't matter because the money doesn't know the difference. Okay, if you win.
No, the money doesn't. The money doesn't know the difference whether it's hockey, basketball, football, soccer. It doesn't make any difference. It's still green. And by the way, speaking of green, my baseball plays right now. I did have one loser. I had a winner and a loser in game one. That was my first loss, and that made me 10-1. And last night's made me 11-1 in the Major League Baseball playoffs, which is probably as good as anybody.
I would say so. When is the next game going to be posted?
Sometime later this afternoon for sure. Probably by 3 o'clock our time.
All right, let me give you something free. We always like to give something out free, and I'm going to recommend. This is not a game that's on my card. I want to make that clear. I did not put this game on my card, but you've got tonight a Sun Belt matchup between South Alabama and Georgia State. Now, if you look at comparative results, I don't handicap this way. Some people do. Comparatively, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Georgia State came home off a 3-0 road trip, but they got a little bit fat and happy, and they had a big problem with Troy, and Troy just smashed them. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I should say, that was last week. 2 weeks ago, South Alabama went in as a 19-point underdog at Troy and won the game outright. So people will look at those two scores are going to probably take South Alabama here. I would look more at the other side. And some things I liked about Georgia State last week, even in the loss, there was nothing in the loss that stood out because they played a horrible game. But their quarterback was Davis Manning. I don't think he's related. But he basically took responsibility after the game. He said, I played terribly, and it was my fault. And I like that kind of leadership from a player. He didn't make any excuses. He just said, I played a horrible game. And I think you'll see a rebound performance out of him. And I also think Georgia State learned a little lesson last week. Some of the players were saying, hey, we were perfect in the road trip. Everybody's patting us on the back, telling us how good we are, and we're all that. And they came out with a very flat performance. I think you'll see a better effort out of Georgia State tonight. And I have a tendency to favor defensive teams. And I think Georgia State has the better defense here. So I would lean that way. The betting has gone that way as well. The sharper money is showing on Georgia State. The game opened 2.5. It's now mostly pick 'em. So if you're looking for a side tonight in one of those college football games, you've got that for me as a complimentary opinion. Georgia State at pick 'em. And again, check out the website for some great plays at very reasonable prices, and we will do this again on Friday.
Absolutely, we will. I want to point out one thing. We do have a Thursday night NFL game tonight. We got Miami.
Oh, that's right.
We got Miami at Baltimore, and I mean Joe Flacco has really been falling off for the last 3 or 4 years. He doesn't have much to work with. There's a lot of injuries. They don't have a lot of talent, but they do usually play very tough defense. Now Miami has lost Cutler, and they're now going with Matt Moore. Well, a lot of us, and I'm one of them included in this group, a lot of us feel that Matt Moore should have had the job in the first place, and Miami should have saved the $10 million they paid to Cutler. But that's just me. I'm not the guy that makes the decision. But the players like Matt Moore. They like his leadership, his personality, and he's been there a long time, and he's always gained respect. And last year he started 3 games and he was 2-1, and he did very well. The players like him. I'm not going to say they dislike the other guy, but they do like him. So I think they'll come to play for him. The problem is these are 2 inferior ball clubs, and it makes it, and you can tell by the total in the game, 37.5. They look for a defensive battle and maybe even say inefficiency on the offensive side of the ball. So it's an interesting situation that's going on with Miami and Baltimore this year.
Yeah, it sure is, and we'll see what happens. I'll be rooting for Miami because I have an under-win prop on the Baltimore Ravens, so that'll be my only rooting interest in the game. And I'm going to if Baltimore loses this game, that's going to be a fairly easy winner, I would suspect. I think it's going to win anyway. Okay, are we done? I think we are.
I think
we're going to come back.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here tomorrow. I think we missed one last Friday, but we will do this tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great Thursday night, and make sure to take advantage of those offers at jimprice.com.